Hey guys, I'm putting together this video real quick to share some news with the related to the Mud Designer. Uh, as of today, actually, the Mud Designer Toolkit Alpha 2.0 is finished and ready for release. We uh, we spent the last couple of weeks working through some bugs. We thought it would be ready a couple of weeks ago, but ran into some bugs that were pretty severe, and we needed to fix them. And in order to fix them, some of the components had to be modified and reworked a little bit because we didn't think about them at the time when we wrote those components. So, but we're finally done with it. The 2.0 Alpha 2.0 was released. Well, it hasn't been released yet, but it's finished. I have it uploaded to the Mud Designer website, but I do not have it flagged for release for everybody to download yet. Primarily because the engine's changed quite a bit, so I need to get the documentation finished. And so at this point, working out the bugs and stuff is a non-issue. So I plan on spending this weekend knocking out the documentation, putting together some videos to show how to use it, and so once all that's put together, I should be able to get the the release pushed out to the website for you guys. Here's the Alpha 2.0 release notes. The engine was completely redesigned. I teamed up with my partner Michael, and him and I, we basically we threw out the old engine completely and we started from scratch and we rebuilt it from the ground up. The engine is a lot more robust. It's a lot more manageable. It's easier to extend on. We've made a lot of improvements to it. So here's just a couple of the key features. The Telnet server, something that was a pain in the butt for the Alpha 1.3. I still had issues with it, pretty bad issues. It wasn't multi-threaded. It was a mess. 2.0 now features a complete multi-threaded Telnet server. It's fully customizable, and if you have and there's components in place to allow you to completely replace the server with your own server, whether you want it to be TCP, IP, UDP, or however you want to build your server, and plug it straight into the engine, and the engine will use it instead. You can do it all through script. You don't have to dig into the actual source code and modify the source code in any way to get your own custom server built. However, the engine comes with its own Telnet server. It's very robust, so I would imagine that all of you guys, 95-98% of you guys, would probably just use the built-in Telnet server. It also has a much more robust scripting system. The scripting system now allows complete C# script source files to be used with namespaces, class names, all that kind of stuff. And I believe in Alpha 1.3, it's been a couple of years since I've actually dug into it and used it, but I'm pretty sure that namespaces weren't supported. I was stripping all that out and wrapping it inside of a custom namespace. So what now it allows you to do is you can build folders, and I'll demonstrate that and show that to you now. Here, this is the actual 2.0 release when you get it downloaded. You have your scripts folder, and you have the default scripts, and then the My Game. My Game is where you'll put yours, or you could simply right-click on it and you can call it, whatever your game name is, or break it down. You could have right in here. You can just put weapons, and you can put characters, whatever you want. It will search all of the folders that are inside of here. So you can build this out to be however customized you want. But for now we ship it with a My Game folder just so people can start building their stuff inside of this folder and not have to mess with modifying the default scripts. The goal is that you don't have to touch the default scripts. You use these default scripts as a guide, not as a not to modify them, but to replace them and use them as a guide. So, but here you can see we support using statements, namespaces, and it's the namespaces, Mud Designer, scripts, defaults, states, and logins. So for me, I matched it to the actual directory path, so whenever I need to call them inside of the scripts, it's easier. I know the full path, but you don't have to. You can just call it mygame.scripts or just mygame if you want. It doesn't matter. The nice part about this is that you can have inside of your game, and this is why I would recommend using like your folder path here as a namespace, because you can have muddesigner.scripts.default.states.login and have your script called client login state. However, you can go over to the My Game folder and you can write your own login state and call it client login state. And even though there are two scripts that have the exact same name, they do two completely different things. And the engine will support that because they are in two different namespaces. You have them in two different locations in memory. So that's a big plus, because in the Alpha 1.3 that was not supported. You could not have duplicate named classes. So this would be really help out, especially we're really hoping that people will kind of build on this, and we can get at some point down the road we're going to build like a repository where people can upload their libraries of scripts, and you'll be able to add those libraries to your game. So if somebody already has a really good maybe say a Skyrim style of character creation and leveling and stuff like that, and you would like to have that component in your game, in your Mud game, you could download their library and it'll go straight into your game and you'll have access to all of their scripts. So we didn't want people to be using a script called My Character inside of their library, and you have a script called My Character and it conflicts. So that is no longer an issue. So very happy with that. Scripts, you can basically do whatever you want to do inside these scripts. They're very it's completely up to you however you want to do it. So you can build these games to do whatever you want. So game state management, it's a new feature that we've built in. Was Michael's idea, and that's basically what I was just showing you here. We have various states when you're inside of the room, when you're looking, when you're entering a command. These are different things, different states that the player will actually be in. So if the player is walking and you want specific things to happen while the player is walking from one room to another, you can have a state, and as soon as the player enters the walk command, he will enter that state, and that state code will be executed. So it's like here, anytime the player issues the look command, he will go into a looking state, and whatever code needs to be happen. So what's happened with 1.3 was that all of the actual code that executed what the player needed to do was inside of the commands, and that's kind of changed. Now you have the commands that the player enters, and when the player enters that command, the command then turns around and changes the player's state into whatever it needs to be to match that command. In most cases, not all the cases, sometimes the command can just run the code itself, but if it's going to be something complicated, you would have the command change the player's state, and that's simple. You just do player.switch state, looking state, basically. And I can show you an example of that in here. We had the look command, and right here under execute, player.switch state, new looking state. And we go into our states. Here is looking state, right here is looking state, and so here's where it goes inside of the render method. Here it says player.send message, location description, location name, all the doorways, and so it prints out the actual description of where the player is at and shows it to them. So that's kind of, like I said, you can do the code inside of the commands if you want to, but it is best to run them through these states, because that's how the engine was kind of geared towards and stuff. And the command does not have access to, well, I guess it does. It has access to the player, so it doesn't really matter. But Yeah, we recommend that you use these states heavily. Um, it's a nice way to break the engine up into player states, or the various states of the game, into manageable pieces. So if you ever need to go and you need to you want to modify the way the look state works, you want to add additional stuff to it, you can go and you can just modify that state. You don't have to go and dig through thousands of lines of code to try and figure out what you need to do. Everything is broken up and easily managed for you. The next thing that we have is an engine settings system, and this is really nice. It allows you to replace core features of the engine with your own custom scripts without needing to modify the source code. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to need to launch the editor. So I'll show you the editor, and this is the current prototype version of the Mud Designer editor. We can go to Game Engine Settings, and these are all the settings that are currently built into the engine. So if you change these and you save it, it's actually saving it on an engine level. So and it's only saving it for this particular machine. So I mean, you'd want to change these settings on your whatever machine your server is going to be on. There is a way to dig down and try and get these settings and restore. It's a really complicated way with how Microsoft did their settings feature in .NET. So I'll explore some way of easily migrating settings from one machine to another. But at the moment, if you move your project from one computer to another, the settings will be reset to default. However, it's extremely easy to go in and change your settings. So like here we have login completed. So this is once the user has logged in. If the user logs in, he has to create a character. He will create the character and then consider his login completed. Or if the character is already created and they have to log in, login will be completed once the password is accepted. And so you can pop this down, and here's all the different states that we have scripted, and this is completely dynamic. So as you build more states, this list will automatically grow longer for you. The editor checks and sees what states are loaded into the engine, and it'll display them here. So as soon as the login is accepted and completed, we'll select looking state. The engine will instantly switch the player to the looking state, which will then print out all of the information. But if you want to do some kind of hub or portal state or something like that, where the player logs in and he has mail, or a menu state, you can do that. We have a main menu state as well. But like I said, you can build your own states, and this is the state the player will occupy, and this is what will be printed out to the screen. Which is another reason why we recommend using states. Is there is a say looking state, there is a render method that is always called right here, and this is to render text to the player for the player to see. And as you can see here, player.sendMessage, player.sendMessage, this is where we're doing it. This render method is called every time that the user after every time that a command is entered. When the command is entered, the engine takes the state the player is in and it renders its text to the screen, to the player. So with the command, you have to it's not always guaranteed that the command that you're writing might actually finish its execution or whatever. I mean, it's ideal for you to always build your states and put all of the code that you want printed to the user inside of the render methods. And this will all be explained in detail in the documentation on the website. So, but I wanted to point that out. So you can put whatever, you can put your login states. If you build a custom world, you can build a custom world. This is the actual engine world that is inside the engine itself. And then here's our default world script, a my game world script. The default players, default game, my game, whatever. You can completely change all this stuff. So you don't have to open the engine source code and modify how a door works. you can build a script that inherits from the engine's door and select it, and there you go, you're off and running. You can change to where the scripts are stored, so if we don't want it to be inside the scripts folder, at the moment, if you change this, I believe that you'll have to manually rename that scripts folder. I don't remember, it's been a little bit since I messed with that. You can add or remove libraries, so if you download a library from somebody or you have a set, that's the nice part, is every time that the engine is ran, it automatically compiles all of your scripts into this file right here, muddesigner.compiled. And I can show you that. By canceling and closing this, and then I rerun it, and you'll see muddesigner.compiled right there. So it comes back. And so what you can do is, say you finish this project and you're going to build another game, you can take this and you can rename this to my game library, and then you can launch the editor and you can go into the engine settings and you can add the script, remove the script. This particular build, I haven't implemented that, but it will be implemented either in 2.0 or 2.01, whichever one. But that is one of the features of the new one. It's built into the engine and it already is working inside of on an engine level. The editor itself just does not have that feature built in to add these stuff into the engine. So, but that will be. You can set a starting room. I don't have any environments created yet. We will do that here in just a little bit. And then you can save where your world is being saved, where the players are being saved, etc. So the engine settings is really, really nice, because now you can just go and you can take core components of the engine, such as the world or the player script or the game script or the server script, and completely replace them with your own scripts, and it'll save that into the engine settings. So the next time that your game runs, it'll check the engine settings, find the scripts that it needs, and use them. So very flexible. The engine save and load code has been improved drastically, much better, basically, and I have an example of that under the creation manager. There's actually a better example under login complete. To do it, it's 2 lines of code. You need to do, where's that at? Right here, var file equals new file file IO, and then you call file.save, and you provide it with the player and this path that you want to save it in, including the file name. So you could do file.save connected player c:/mygame/ plus engine settings .default .player save path, and that will get where in the engine settings, when we set the folder that we want all of our players to be saved in, this will go into the engine settings and pull that folder out, plus connected player .name plus .char. So there, now we have our it's going to save it's going to save that character, but you can do it with anything. It can be the game, it could be the world, it could be the realm, it could be the room, a piece of equipment, whatever. Any object in the game you can save using this. You just pass the object here and the path that you want it to be saved. Now the engine automatically saves the entire game world without the players. Players are not saved with the world, but everything in the world, including equipment, items, mobs, any characters, those should all be saved with the engine. So only thing that is not at the moment is players, because players, they are saved automatically, but they are saved outside of the world file. So, and if I was to launch the editor here and do a file save and then exit, there's the world save. Players would be saved outside of this. So, and we can go in here and I can tell in engine settings that I want world to be inside of a saves folder, same with players. So we'll put players inside of saves. Save the settings, save the game, exit, and we can delete this because this is no longer used. And there's our saves folder with world.save. So next we have a redesigned command system, which I already kind of went over with the game state management, how they work kind of hand in hand. And then I also went over already the very dynamic engine that allows you to replace components and everything via scripts very easily, which is exactly what I've done. Inside of here you can go into default game, and here's default game, and you can see it says public class default game inherits from engine.core.game. So it's basically taking engine.core.game and taking all of its components and adding it to default game, and it lets me add on top of it. So here you can do all your initial setups or whatever. You can do this inside of the editor as well now, the setting all these default properties like website version and stuff like that. But if you want to replace the world script, which I've done over here inside of environment, there's a world script that replaces the engine script. The engine doesn't automatically replace it just because there's a script there, because you could have 4 or 5 world scripts, so it doesn't know. So in order to do that, you would have to replace the internal game with your own game and set it here, world equals default environment.default world. So that's how you would do some of these things. You would have to create multiple scripts to replace one component of the engine, but it's very simple to do it. And once it's done, and you can just go on creating your stuff. So very, very, very powerful engine at this. We're very, very proud of it. So next, I want to touch base real quick with just the editor. You can create environments, realms, rooms, zones. You can link them together by dragging and dropping. And then it also has a built-in server that lets you test your game and create the content dynamically while the server runs and while players are connected. So I'll take just a minute here and demonstrate that. We'll launch the editor. We are not going to hide our room names. Hide room names means when the player issues a look command, the room names are not shown to them, only a description of the room. And for this, we're going to go ahead and we want to show the room names so I can show you guys that we are actually moving around. So we'll go to World, Environments, and Realms, and here's our realm editor. Very simple. We'll create a new realm, and we will call this one California. At the moment, descriptions aren't being used anywhere in the game's engine, but so we'll leave it blank. We'll create a new zone, and we'll call this one San Diego. Alright. Close this, and now we'll create a room. So how this works is, as you can see here, here's a path. San Diego zones belong inside of realms, just like they did in Mud Designer 1.3, and it helps segregate things. And now we can create a room. So we'll create a room inside of California and San Diego. And if we wanted to, we can close this, we can come into zones, and we can create a new zone, and we can call it LA, and go into rooms. And you'll notice there's no rooms in there, and we can swap back to San Diego, and there's our room. And it still has our that new room 1 loaded. So that is the nice part. Whatever room that you currently have loaded, you can close the editor and you can go elsewhere inside of the Mud Designer editor, and that room will still be loaded. So other editors, such as an equipment editor, will see that and allow you to place items and stuff inside of it and whatnot. So we'll change this one's properties. Oh, well, this is a bug. I'll fix this before I ship it. It shows that it's loaded, but apparently it's not loaded. So we'll click the load room, and now it's loaded. We'll name this bedroom, and we'll give this a description. Room descriptions are supported in the engine now, just not zones and realms at the moment. So the room description, we will put, this is your bedroom. It is fairly clean. Alright. So next, we want to create a new room, and we will call this one Closet, and we'll put in that the closet is empty. Alright. And lastly, we'll create a hallway. Actually, no, we'll create a bathroom. Your bathroom, is in need of some serious cleaning. Alright, so now we have the bathroom loaded. We want to load the bedroom because the bedroom is going to be where we link all these together. Here's our doorways. They're all empty at the moment. You can take the closet and just drag and drop the closet to the west room, let go, and there it's linked. You can take the bathroom and drag and drop it to the east room, and it's linked. Now if you want, you can load the closet room, and if you see over here, the west door is a closet, so when we load it, the east door should be the bedroom, and that's the case. East room is the bedroom, we are in the closet, everything else is empty. Now if you, instead of clicking over here, because sometimes these rooms, you might have 1,000 rooms in here and you don't want to go sifting through them, you can right click and you can tell it load room, and it will load you straight into the bedroom. If you don't want the bathroom to be there, we can load the bathroom, and we can go back into the bedroom. If you want to clear it, you can right click and you can clear doorway, and it will clear that doorway out. So now we have a current room, we have our room set up. Before we launched the server, we had to go into engine settings. Remember earlier we came here and it said that we had no room set. I told you we would fix that later. So we'll hit starting room, and that's not supposed to happen, but I'll fix that too. But we can go into San Diego here, and we will click bathroom, bedroom, or closet. We will start out in the bedroom. Close it, and there's our login room. So now when new players are created, that is where they will start. So everything else is set properly. We are going to hit save settings. We're going to save our game, and now we are going to start our server. And there our server is started. I use Putty Telnet, but you can use whatever. And here we go. Allocate this mud game, which is pulled from the name of the game right there. This is the default game setup that comes shipped with the Mud Designer game engine. That's up here in the game description. And then Mud Designer based game. That is over here, message of the day from the server. Oh, that's configurable. So what is your username? We will put Jonathan. We will put in a password of test for now. Re-enter for verification, test. And then I am male. There, it says you have completed the character creation process. We are in our bedroom, and it says this is your bedroom and it's fairly clean. To the west is closet, to the east is a bathroom, and we can walk west, and now we are in the closet. We can walk east, and we are back into the bedroom. We can quit, come up here, and we will stop the server. Now, like I told you earlier, here's our saves folder, and now there's a players folder inside of there with my character information. So that's Mud Designer Alpha 2.0. One last thing that I didn't get to show you, and I will show you really quick, is I will start the server back up, and I will connect to it again, and this time my name, my password are test, and I'm automatically logged back in. It knows, it pulls my information. But see, now here it says this is your bedroom, it is fairly clean. To the west is closet, to the east is bathroom. So what if I didn't want that bathroom to the east? I can come over here, I can select San Diego, I can load the bedroom, right click on the bathroom, and I can clear it. And then I can go to the bathroom and I can put it on the south. Come back over here, this is all taking place in real time, issue the look command, and the bathroom is still in the east. I don't know why. Let's walk to the west, and then walk back to the east. Bathroom is still there. Well, I'm not sure why that happens. Another bug that I'll get fixed before I release it to you guys. But that's the you should be able to also. This is your bedroom. Testing. Let's close the editor and save the game. Do a look. Yeah, for some reason it's not. This was working the other night. So real-time editing is broken. But before I ship 2.0, it will be fixed, and you guys can rest assured that you can just simply edit stuff like that inside of the editor, and then come over to your connection and see the results in real time. So walk east, walk west. So that's the Mud Designer Alpha 2.0. It's still got a couple of bugs here and there that I got to work out, but when it's shipped, hopefully this weekend, it should be this weekend because these are minor bugs that should just take a few minutes to fix and address. You guys will have a complete, ready to go Mud game engine and toolkit for you to use. Not all the features are built into it, such as equipment. The framework for the equipment and stuff is laid out and ready to go. You just have to build the scripts to add it into your game. There's no default equipment scripts built yet. Those will come as time moves on. As we update the engine, I'll build more scripts, or we will build more scripts and get the default game scripts very much fleshed out. So there's a bunch of them for you guys to use, learn from, inherit from, modify, whatever. So that's where we stand. Like I said, I would leave the default scripts alone. If you want to modify one, I would copy it and paste it into your folder and modify it from there. So this way, as we release updates to the engine, the default scripts will be updated as well, and you don't lose your changes. One last thing is that the Mud Designer game engine, because Michael and I are working on it, we have our own company now, our own indie studio, Allocate This Studios. And so Mud Designer is going to be taken from being my sole responsibility, and I'm the only one working on it, to us working on it together, and it's going to be part of our company. So we have a YouTube channel now, Allocate This Studios, and from now on, all of my Mud Designer related videos will be posted there. On my personal channel, I'll try and like them and whatnot, so that they show up in your guys' feed or stream, and you can see them. But from now on, any documentation or help or updates to the engine and the toolkit, they will go into the Mud Designer playlist on the Allocate This Studios website, YouTube channel. So I did create a playlist. It's empty right now because I haven't recorded anything, but this weekend that will get filled with how-tos and updates and whatnot, and that would be your one-stop shop for all Mud Designer updates. So my blog, I'll still go ahead and modify or update my blog with Mud Designer stuff. We have our website, allocatethis.com, with a blog as well that will have updates. But for more day-to-day related updates and stuff, I'm going to try and get that done on my personal blog and whatnot, and leave the Allocate This Studios blog for more for announcements and other things of that nature. So, but yeah, that's sorry for the long video. It's a little bit longer than what I'd planned, but a lot of changes were made to the engine, and it's going to be really nice once I get it shipped and the documentation is being updated. Right now we have the 2.0 document, or the 1.3 documentation on the site, but I'm working on the Alpha 2.0 documentation that will really walk you through step by step on exactly what you need to do to create realms, create zones, rooms, and all this nature, modify scripts, etc. So with that, I appreciate your guys' support, and I mean, the Mud Designer's been downloaded 1,100 times with the Alpha 1.3, so very proud of that, and we're hoping to continue it with a now stable version of the engine. And now that the rewrite is completed and it's stable, and all that we have to do is just now continue to add features, releases should come at a much quicker pace. There should not be a 2-year gap between releases like there was between 1.3 and 2.0. We should have releases. My goal is minimum one a month, hopefully bi-weekly. I can just push a release of whatever changes and improvements we've made, just push it out there to you guys, so that you guys will always have the latest build that's stable with brand new release, brand new features and whatnot. So that's where we stand. I appreciate all of you guys' like I said, support. If you like the way that the engine is going and progressing, hit like for that. I'd appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. I will continue to do various other things related. I might put some some things related to this on my channel as well, but I'll probably duplicate them over to the Allocate This. But like I said, Allocate This will be my primary place to put Mud Designer engine stuff. But I'm also doing other things such as game iPad and iPhone game reviews that I'm going to try and put together and get out. Some other stuff on my channel. I got some things coming that I want to try and do. So subscribe to my channel if you like it, like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to the Allocate This Studios channel if you want to continue seeing updates on this project. So I appreciate it, and you guys have a good one.